everyone, welcome back to my vlog. I'm Robin, or Hobbit's Reading List, and this week is going to be a little chaotic because it's the week before Christmas, which means it's the week before I drive down to my dad's house. So we have a lot of stuff to prepare before that happens, but I am also continuing to try to read every day in December, which I'm hoping will turn into like a full-fledged habit for the new year. So trying to read every day, get caught up on my reading goal, and also work full-time, pack, generally prepare for a road trip and then, a week away. It's gonna be kind of busy. So let's get into it. I want to be clear. He's not trying to get my attention. I don't think you can see him. He's literally behind me. Well, he was behind me, he moved. But he was behind me meowing into that corner because he likes the acoustics. And now he's done with that little concert and he wandered away. Anyway. So yesterday was Chris's and I's pretty much only day off together this week before I leave, because every other day this week until next Monday, which is when I leave, has something going on. So I mainly just spent yesterday with Chris. We went, where did we go? Oh, we went to lunch-ish, brunch. And then we ended up going antiquing, getting some more presents for people. And then, kind of just home and hanging out. So I didn't start reading until probably 9 or 10 o'clock. So I only read 37 pages last night. I'm hoping to read more, but I just have a lot going on this week. And I'm really hoping that doesn't mean that I'm only going to be reading for an hour before bed, because that's going to take all week to finish a book. Don't meow again. I'm right here. I'm right here. I could see him getting ready. He was facing the corner. Different corner this time. I wonder if the acoustics are different for him. Anyway, I started reading The 8 Heartbreaks of Hanukkah. I believe that's what it's called. It is the... How many have I read? Fourth Gene Meltzer book I read, I believe. Is that right? Yeah, because the matzo ball, Mr. Perfect on Paper, Kissing Kosher, and yeah, so this is my 4th Gene Meltzer book. I do like her writing. I'm very interested in this one actually because both the characters, the female lead, whose name is Evelyn, and then her ex-husband, it's a second chance romance, his name is David. They're both Jewish, which is a little bit different from the other 3 books that I read, where only, I believe, the female protagonist was Jewish and the other was not. So I'm excited to read both characters being Jewish. That's fun. two different degrees of observance, but that's fine. So anyway, The 8 Heartbreaks of Hanukkah is kind of a spin on The Christmas Carol, and Evelyn is a workaholic. She's not Scrooge. She is actually, according to David, very generous and thoughtful. However, but she is a workaholic, and so work overshadows all of that pretty much. And that is why he left her, because he felt ignored and neglected. So, however, Evelyn is, after he left, continued being a workaholic, partially because he didn't he didn't handle it the right way. Anyway, she is the executive producer for this like live production of A Christmas Carol, and she ends up getting a head injury, which causes her to see some ghosts. You are so... You're just interrupting the whole time. I'm gonna pick you up. There are times where he, like, really wants to be picked up, and then other times he really doesn't. Anyway. So this causes her to see some ghosts of other heartbreaks that she's gone through, but all of them sort of lead back to David. And as she's going through this, David is the, like, medic on set. He's filling in for someone. He's not typically there, but he is the medic on set for this time frame. And so as Evelyn is going through, like, seeing these ghosts, her and David are sort of reconnecting a bit. So it's really interesting so far. That's what I've gotten from the summary and the, like, sort of 40 pages I read. I will be very interested because it's, you know, A Christmas Carol was 3 nights. And was it 3 nights? It was 3 ghosts. But it was over the span of 1 night, I believe. Yeah, I think. I watch A Christmas Carol every year, and I've read it multiple times. Why can I not remember this? That's really upsetting. But I do believe that the 8 Heartbreaks of Hanukkah take place over the 8 nights of Hanukkah. I believe. That would make sense. So, I mean, I'm liking it so far. I like the introduction of both characters, and I know that I like Gene Meltzer's writing for the most part. There are some things where I'm like, okay. But so far, so good. So that's sort of what I did. I already know what I'm planning on reading this week. If I can knock out 3 books this week like I did last week, I'll be thrilled. That still won't let me catch up on a reading goal, but we'll get to that at some point. So if I can read this, and then since it's Hanukkah pretty much this whole week, well, it is Hanukkah this whole week, I think once I finish that, I will read Let It Glow, which is a middle grade Christmas story. So I'll read that in the latter half of the week, hopefully. But then also my audiobook is not holiday related at all. It's a Wodehouse book, but I will be able to finish that because it's only like 7 hours and I listen on 1.3 speed. So that's the plan. I have to do things. I have to edit, I have to get ready for work, I have to work. So now that I've talked about the book that I read, I'm going to wrap this up and check in with you later. Hi everyone. Ooh, my hair is wild. Okay. Might as well film this now because I have been distracted all day. I have read every day. I think it's important for me to acknowledge that, especially if I'm not filming every day. I have read every day, it just hasn't been much. I've just kind of been chipping away at the 8 Heartbreaks of Hanukkah. I'm on the 2nd heartbreak right now. And I'm enjoying the book for the most part. The only thing is that, like, I don't believe the relationship. Like, I'm only 100 pages in, and it's a second chance romance, which, like, is not my favorite. Because I struggle to believe them and how they all shake out. But I still try. The issue I'm having is that, like, there seem to be some tender moments between them, even though they're exes. However, literally, like, I would say, like, 8 times out of 10, when they think about one another, there is at least one comment about how great their spicy times were together, or how
like physically attractive that person is, rather than reflecting on like the good moments. Like, not always, but typically if they're thinking about the other person, there is a comment in there about like, oh yeah, and we were spicy together and it was amazing. And I guess I just don't need that many times. Like, I'm only like 100 pages in. So, yeah, it's just a little frustrating. It makes it a little difficult to believe that they were married and like we're starting a family together, when it's almost like always focusing on the physical rather than like they grew up together. They were childhood friends. And I'm like, we can't focus more on that. So that's the only issue I'm having right now. But hey, maybe that changes as we get deeper into the book. I'm being invaded. Maybe. No? He changed his mind. I have a cat on my lap, but he can't decide if he wants to come closer. Other than that, I did not start the Wodehouse book yesterday. I was just not in the mood. I think tomorrow will be better. And I've figured out, because I think I had mentioned wanting to read Let It Glow as well, since it's Hanukkah. And I've figured out that with listening on 1.3 speed, the Wodehouse book will take me like 5-ish hours. And then Let It Glow would take like 6.5. And this weekend, I'm actually driving about 11-ish hours between going to and from work, and then I'm going to Chicago Saturday night, and then from Chicago to a western suburb to my aunt's house, also Saturday night, and then from there, which is near work, to home. So that'll be a lot of driving, holiday parties, and then Sunday to and from work. So I'll be driving quite a bit this weekend, and so I should be able to finish both of them. So I can still finish 3 books that I wanted to, even though I'm just chipping away at 8 Heartbreaks. Like, I really want to read more of it. It's just really hard with how busy this week is. But I have like a couple of meetings tonight, and then I'm going to cook dinner, and then I'm hoping after that I can just read for a little bit, because I need to go to bed somewhat early because I have an early work day tomorrow. So that's the plan. That's the update. And I'm going to go because my arm's getting tired and I really don't have much more to talk about.
I did not read more of 8 Heartbreaks with Hanukkah last night. I had every intention of doing that, but I've been so tired. So hopefully today, I'm going to breakfast with a friend, and then I'm driving to Chicago in the afternoon. But hopefully before that I can get, a chunk of 8 Heartbreaks of Hanukkah. I would like to finish it by the end of this weekend. I like to finish it by the end of Hanukkah. But I'm only like a third of the way through. So, however, I did listen to about 60% of Girl on the Boat. And the issue with reading so much Wodehouse, even though I'm reading like roughly a Wodehouse book a month, and I didn't read Wodehouse for like 2 months, is that you start to see things that are repeated in his writing, and that's fine. But the biggest issue that I have as someone who reads romance and really enjoys the getting to know you, falling in love, quiet moments in romance, Wodehouse is not a romance writer. So that's first. He's not a romance writer, he's a comedy writer, a hijinks writer, which is fine, except there is typically a romance in the plot, and they typically fall in love at first sight, and sometimes without even talking. And it's typically the man who falls in love with a pretty woman and is like, I'm in love. It's like, no, you are in lust. You are attracted to that person, and that is fine. But don't try to say you're in love. You don't know them. You haven't spoken to them. And just seeing it in like 8 out of 10 novels at this point, it's just kind of frustrating. Especially because, like, okay, before I continue ranting, Girl on the Boat is about it's about this woman named Billy. And she's on a boat to the UK from New York. And there are 3 men on the boat who are all in love with her. To some extent. One of them, Eustace, had been engaged, and because of his mother's manipulations, he wasn't able to make it to the church on time for them to get married, and because of how he didn't, I don't know, try to do more, I guess, to get to the church, okay, I think I can say this because it happens early in the book. His mom stole all his trousers, so he couldn't get dressed. And Billy, after he explained that, Billy felt that he could have done, like, literally anything, like, borrowed pants from the janitor, called a tailor. He could have done more. And so because he didn't, and because she felt that it was so ridiculous, she called off the engagement. Okay, fine, whatever. But Eustace is going back to the UK, so he's one of the men on the boat. However, he's, like, seasick for, like, most of it. So he's kind of just in his stateroom. There's not really a ton of interactions between him and Billy. His cousin Sam is also on the boat, sharing a stateroom with Eustace. He runs into Billy as they're getting on the boat. Sees her, decides he loves her. And so he gets to know her while they're on the boat together. I can't really go too far into that storyline. She does return his feelings to an extent. But I can't go into it without spoilers. And then there's another guy who is an old family friend of Billy's who has always loved her. However, he is continually compared to a parrot. Like, physical description, mannerisms, he is described as a parrot. And so it's just really hard to picture anything besides, like, a 6-foot-tall parrot being in love with this woman. Which is not out of the question, and I think would make it more amusing. However, but he is an actual man. So there's that. My issue is that Billy fucking sucks. She's horrible. I don't understand why 3 men were in love with her. Or are in love with her. I just don't get it. Like, she sucks. She has no substance. She's very judgmental. She's not understanding at all. She admits to putting whoever she has feelings for on a pedestal, and if they mess up, she's out. And I'm like, that's really unrealistic and setting these men up to fail, and you suck. The only character that I like is Billy's friend Jane, which I'm surprised that I like her because she's described as, like, a manly woman, which, like, that's fine. I have no issue with, like, more masculine women. In fact, I love them. She's a big game hunter. That's the thing I have an issue with. But when she's not talking about hunting, I really like her. It just sucks that she's friends with Billy. So at this point, I'm hate listening to this book because I need to get it done. I listened to 60%, and so I'm driving to Chicago tonight for a Hanukkah party, and then I'm driving to a suburb for a Christmas party right after. So I should finish Girl on the Boat tonight. And I think I had outlined when I was talking earlier about, like, I'm doing so much driving this weekend, and I'm going to be able to finish 2 audiobooks. That's not true. I forgot. Math. So I'm driving to Chicago and then I'm driving to the suburb and I'm staying at my aunt's house. So I'm not driving back home. And because I'm staying at my aunt's house, it's much closer to my work. So I'm going straight to work from there, which is only like 20 minutes. So I'm actually losing a chunk of listening time. I think I will still start Let It Glow. And yeah, because I want to, and I kind of have to. I already have books picked out for my drive down to Arkansas on Monday. But I will start Let It Glow. I will finish it on the way down, probably. I say probably to mean like if I don't continue listening to it like Sunday night when I'm like packing and stuff like that, which I might do. But so there's that. I still have hopes that I will finish 3 books this week, but we will see. Yeah, it's just been really busy. But I'm going to get ready to go for breakfast, and I will check in with you later with hopefully having read a decent chunk of 8 Heartbreaks of Hanukkah, but definitely we'll talk tomorrow about finishing Girl on the Boat. Okay, so I'm on my way to Arkansas. I'm taking a break. I've been driving since 6, and it's now 9:37. I was gonna just film this when I got gas, but they had a weird system going on for the bathroom, and so I'm like, all right, well, I'm gonna go get breakfast at McDonald's, I guess, and I'll use that bathroom. Anyway, I wanted to wrap up this vlog because I finished 2 books last night. So, not as many as I wanted, but still pretty good. I did listen to Girl on the Boat yesterday, and I just finished it like 10 minutes ago. And I have some thoughts. And I realize the camera keeps moving. I'm trying to figure this out. I have some thoughts, and overall, they're not great. I still despise Billy. She really, really, really sucks. She got engaged to various people, I want to say a total of like 7 or 8 times. Like, and the person she ended up with, I'm like, okay, well, let's see how long that engagement lasts. Although I will say, like, the person she ended up with is smart, and he's like, all right, let's go to London and get married. And he's not wasting any time because he realizes how fickle she is. But, you know, she's so pretty, so it's worth it. Cool. I decided that my favorite characters were Jane, who was Billy's friend. Despite her being a big game hunter, I still really like her. And then Smith, which is a bulldog that we sometimes got the perspective of. So that was fun. But overall, I didn't like it. I didn't like Billy. I didn't like Sam, who was one of the main characters. I didn't mind Eustace, but he was just kind of there. He had the mumps for the second half of the book. So, yeah, there wasn't a lot to redeem it, so I gave it 2 stars. And I'm glad that it's done, and I don't need to. I know I'm kind of like, gee, no wonder I procrastinated on it so much. It took me like 2 months to read it. So yeah, can't wait for that podcast episode. And then I got home last night, finished up some work stuff that I had to do, and like took a shower and stuff, and I just read the last of the 8 Heartbreaks of Hanukkah. Because I read a little bit at work, and then I had, like, I think less than 100 pages. So I went ahead and finished that up. My original issues with it still sort of stand. Because I think I have to just accept that second chance romances are maybe just not for me. Not if they had, like, a substantial relationship. If they just had, like, a misconnection or something like that I can do. But if they had a legitimate relationship and then broke up, and then the story is about them getting back together, I just don't think that's for me. That's a trope that I just don't think works. I don't think the issues were actually resolved between them. It may have been resolved, like, for them as individuals. And it, like, their relationship was still very focused on, like, the physical part. And I felt like we were being told about their emotional relationship rather than actually seeing it on the page. We saw it in Evelyn's, like, heartbreak visions. But, like, with them in present time, I didn't really feel it. So, yeah. So I ended up giving that one 3 stars because it was better than Girl on the Boat. But I think it was a miss for me, and I'm probably not going to keep my copy, which sucks because it is signed. But, yeah. So there's that. Those are the 2 books that I read this week. So I'm going to wrap up this vlog and start the next one and start my next audiobook because I still have, like, 7 hours of driving left. Yay! So thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Go ahead and leave me a comment or like the video, subscribe or click the notification bell, and I will talk to you next week.